Hello and welcome to another anime discussion. I'm your host Merlin, and today we'll kick off the first in a series I've been planning for some time. This is an analysis on various anime villains. However, ones that for one reason or another, I feel are somewhat underrated. To kick this off, we shall be discussing one of my favorite anime series, once again, Fullmetal Alchemist. This video shall be focusing specifically on Dante, the main villain of the first anime. Some of you who've been with my channel for a while know my thoughts on her in general, but I would like to elaborate here. Dante is one of the most evil, conniving, and truly villainous villains in Japanese animation, and she is criminally underrated. It's not so much that people dislike her, though there are some who do not, it's just really that she doesn't come up much in conversation. When people bring up anime villain greats, she's almost never mentioned, even though FMA is one of the most revered anime series out there, the original as well as Brotherhood. For those of you who are not familiar with her, let's delve into her backstory a bit. But be warned, there are probably some spoilers ahead. In the first anime series, the homunculi, these inhuman creatures, are going around manipulating alchemists to commit horrible acts, from slavery to murder, and even war and mass genocide. All the while, these plans seem to ultimately be to create a philosopher's stone, for their own purposes. As in the manga, the homunculi are working for a benefactor. This time, it's a human one, ironically. It is revealed that, instead of father, Dante is the evil genius manipulating everything. She has been using her skills to create homunculi or bring those already created into her fold. She does this and causes acts of massive violence, perpetrating wars for centuries to continue creating philosopher's stones, harvesting the souls of all the bloodshed to use the stone's power. And what is her reasoning for doing this? Well, there are several. Firstly, due to her intelligence and skill with alchemy, she sees herself as superior to other humans, believing them to be tools to be used for her own disposal. Secondly, she actually has a personal vendetta against the Ulrich family. Centuries ago, she and Hohenheim were lovers. However, disagreeing with her experiments and obvious lack of morality, he left her. She was so scorned by this that she made it her duty to destroy the foundation of everything he believed in, namely humanity itself. With every plot, she would attempt to use the worst aspects of mankind and turn it on itself. This was an affront to Hohenheim's idealistic views on people and alchemy as a tool to help them. This also explains her hatred for the Elrics, as hurting Edward and Elphont is another layer to her revenge. Perhaps the most frightening thing about Dante, though, is that ultimately, she's vain. Her motivation is essentially to live forever and to be young and beautiful. She only cares for the most superficial qualities of human life, knowing nothing of loyalty, friendship, family bonds, and even basic compassion. She is one of the key elements to reinforce one of the many great themes that is present in both series. Her lack of humanity and bastardization of alchemy is the exact opposite of what Edward and his brother believe in. One of the key thematic components of FMA is the concept of what it means to be human, to have a soul if you will. It comes up several times, and Dante is the perfect representation of a human being without any real humanity, so overcome by desire for power and arrogance that she is incapable of feeling any real emotion. In a way, her own homunculi are more human than she is. It is ironically this corruption that leads to her own downfall, as her inability to see the complex needs of her own creations leads to her gruesome and rather fitting end. It also speaks to yet another basic idea that the series often purports. One of the key aspects of life most difficult to embrace is death. The ultimate goal of Dante was to prevent this, because she feared it, implying perhaps that morality is necessary for human experience. At least with Dante, immortality led to separation, seeing herself as more god than human, and her arrogance leading to her own downfall. Some may see some obvious parallels with Father. I have already discussed him in previous videos, but for the sake of comparison, we shall touch on him briefly. Father, being a supernatural being, does see humans as flawed creatures and tools for his disposal, much like Dante. He also has a close relationship with their father and even shares the Elric DNA, giving him a personal reason to hate them like Dante. He also is vain and fears death, with his arrogance leading to his downfall in a similar way. The problem is, Father is a bit more of a stereotypical villain. He wants power for power's sake, and really doesn't have much of a personality beyond that. Dante simply has more dimensions. In reality, Father is a decent villain, but I've always suspected that it was his superpowered nature which caused others to remember him more than his character dynamic. Where Dante is superior is in that she, unlike Father, is a human being. She is a person who would cause so much pain and suffering for something as simple as vanity and fear of old age and death. These are basic human fears that sadly I could see an everyday normal person being motivated to do such terrible things for. That is the true nature of Dante. She is a person. Perhaps once there was something good, but it was buried a very long time ago. Well, those are my thoughts on Dante. Let me know your thoughts below, And of course, requests are always welcome. Alright guys, Merlin out. Until next time, peace.